Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and let me welcome you to the first ever HydroCore Official Level 1 certification. Hey, my name is Leo Savage. I work with the Untitled Academy as one of their educators. Also started a certification called Steel Mace Flow, and it is an honor to team up with Maurizio and his creation, the HydroCore, to bring you guys some top-notch education. All right, enough about me. Let's start talking about the bag. The bag is very unique, and like all programs, it's very important that we use the tool for its uniqueness, but break it down to its grassroots. In this course, you will learn the basic fundamentals of movement: how to push, pull, squat, rotate, hinge. All these mechanics are very important, and because the bag is unique, we will highlight those areas, but we will also use it for its very unique build, and we will introduce things like funneling energy, snapping, throwing, spinning, whipping, and so much more. Let me introduce you to the equipment you will be using. Now, of course, the unit, you can think of it as a whole, but me, I like to break down each individual piece. The thing that you will find in your bag, probably attached to your HydroCore when you order it, are these two simple ropes. I like to refer to it very simply as ropes, and then the bottom, I like to refer to that as a globe or a pommel. Something we will be doing, and so let's go ahead and do this right now. Let's take your globes and let's thread the globe through each one of the ropes. And you're gonna make what looks like a bolo. We're gonna call this neat configuration the nunchuck. All right. Let's go ahead and look at your bag. So we've got the ropes, we've got the pommel. Next thing, we've got the handles on the bag. We will learn how to push, pull, hinge, squat, rotate, and so much more, of course, with the handles, with the ropes. All right, and then looking at the actual bag, you've got a couple things to be aware of. One, you've got what I call the horns. And you can look at it as horns going up and horns going down. What you'll notice is as you go from the horns up to horns down, the water, in this case we've got some very colorful water, so you guys can clearly see what's happening with the bag through the screen. All right, so you notice that one horn has more weight or more water in one end of it than the other. If we go horns up or belly down, the water levels out 100%. So just in holding the bag, you'll find a couple unique variants of the water distributing from the top position to the bottom position. So quick anatomy, you got the ropes, you've got the pommels, you've got the handles, you've got the horns, and you've got the belly. The belly is super important to me. I like to think of the bag as a vessel, and this vessel contains, of course, the water. The more air we put into the bag, the more room the water has to travel in the vessel. So it's important that you maximize the amount of air you can put into your HydroCore bag. We'll give you a brief little lesson on that as we go on. Now we're going to approach this with three simple levels of improvement. The first level, the ground level, we're going to control the bag in a static form. After you've controlled the bag in a static form for a while, what happens is your movements become more fluid. So we'll start off by learning static. We will change those static movements into fluid movements, and then, of course, we will change those movements into a dynamic movement. Static, fluid, and dynamic. All right, now this is where we start really getting into the unique build of the bag. Doing my research, of course, I think we've all run into this beautiful, wonderful mover named Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee has this quote, he says. He talks about water flowing and water crashing. I love that. I like to think of the fluid transition as flow. Water can flow. Bruce Lee says, water can crash. I like that. I like to think of crashing as our dynamic movement. And then there's this really neat part of Bruce Lee's quote. He talks about water flowing and water crashing. But there's this part where he says, if you put water into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. And in that example, we are highlighting the strength of the vessel, which in that case was the teapot. The teapot, or the vessel in this case, which will be the hydrocore, has the ability to keep water still. It takes a lot of strength to bring water to rest. So we will use static, fluid, and dynamic training, and we will replace those words with our static, the water being still or coming to a rest. Our fluid, we will change the name of fluid to flow. And then our dynamic, we will change into the idea of the water crashing. All right, so let's get this straight. You're going to push, pull, squat, hinge, rotate with static, fluid, and dynamic movements, or being still, flowing, or the water crashing. Now, because the bag is such a visible tool, you can see a very, very clean rep. The bag gives you instant feedback. If you do a rep right, the bag tells you whether your intent is to make the bag flow or make the bag crash. If you're doing some strength training and you're getting very aggressive, well, by God, the water should be pounding. It should be making noise. If you're working on fluid transition, well, the water will be silent. So not only do we look, but we feel and we listen to the bag. What you'll notice as a coach or in your personal practice is that your movements will become more quiet with time. The more you build muscle memory into each exercise, you will be able to turn the volume up on your exercise. All right, my friends, it is time to start this course. There's going to be a manual. You guys follow along with your manual as you go through this course. We're going to go ahead and start by warming up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get your education on.